Okay, hi everybody. I am going to spend a couple minutes kind of explaining how this whole slope and y-intercept thing works and try to explain it to you in a video form so that maybe you can use this to help you with this as you're working at it from home, those of you who have to still work on it. So I'm going to pull this over here and we'll have this available to us so that I can write things down as we go. So if we take a look at this problem, right, it says find the slope and the y-intercept of the line, and it gives us this equation, this y equals 5 minus 1/2 x. Now, if you were just seeing this for the first time, you should rightly be confused. You've never probably dealt with anything like this, even though you should be comfortable with the idea of what slope is, right? Slope, if you remember what slope is rise over run, right? And we use that, we're going to start using the symbol m to denote what slope is. And why they use that and not s, I don't know, but they use the m, right? And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce you to this special type of equation form, and this is called slope-intercept form. And this is the general case of it, all right? The general case of it means that when you see an actual case of it, there will be a number here for m, which is your slope, and then they'll have either a positive or a negative sign, and then another number here, which this represents your y-intercept. And the y-intercept, all that means is where this thing crosses the y-axis, where this line crosses the y-axis. And unless the line is going straight up and down, and it's not on the y-axis, it's going to cross the y-axis at some point. So every line that has any kind of slope whatsoever is going to go through the y-intercept at some point, and can be characterized by the general form of this equation, this y equals mx plus b. And so what they're asking us to do is they're saying, okay, so we want you to find the slope and the intercept of this using this general case, and then we're going to give you a specific case, and we want you to pull that information out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write one right below the other. I'm gonna write this y equals mx plus b again. I'm gonna go y equals mx plus b, and then I'm gonna write the equation of the line they gave us, and then we're gonna try and figure this out. 5 minus 1/2 x. Now, the first thing I notice is that theirs is written backwards from ours, right? They have the number first, and then they have the number with the x last. Whereas y equals mx plus b, the x comes first. So let's just rewrite it, all right? Let's say y equals, so remember the sign goes with, the sign to the left of a term always sticks with it. So it's negative 1/2 x, and then this doesn't have a sign, so that would be plus 5. All right, so now I can look at this and say, oh, okay, so this must be my m, and then this is my b, right? That's my y-intercept, right? That's my y-intercept, is this right here. And so then all I have to do is just put it in the answer. So the slope is negative 1/2. It's that number that's in front of the x. So I'm going to go negative 1, half. And then my y-intercept we said was 5. Right? So my slope is negative 1/2, my y-intercept is 5. So I go check. And hey, it like that. All right, let's do another one or two of these. See if we can try and figure this out, because sometimes they throw some weird things at you with these. All right, this one's actually pretty straightforward. It's written in our y equals mx plus b form already for us, right? It's written in the right order. So y equals negative 3x minus 7. So if you look at my plus b, well, that corresponds with this. So that's my y-intercept. So that'll be negative 7. And then my slope is m. That's that number that's in front of the x. Well, that's right here. So that's negative 3 is my slope. And remember, it's rise over run. So that means it goes down 3 and over 1, right? We always think of it as a fraction. Negative 3 is our slope. Let's check that. Yeah, let's do another one. All right. Oh, this is a good one. All right, so we have y equals x plus 9. Now, a lot of you, when you first see something like this, go, okay, I can see that 9 is going to be my y-intercept, right? That's plus b. And you're like, okay, those line up, so that makes sense. But there's no number in front of their x. Now, when there isn't a number in front of x, you can always assume that the coefficient, which is the number in front of a variable, is always 1. So if there's no number there, that means that it's the number 1, right? Because 1 times anything is just that thing, so they don't write a 1 down. They'll write anything else, but they won't write the number 1 down, all right? So if you don't see a number there, that means it's the number 1. So our slope for this one is 1, all right? Check. All right, we're going to try one last one here and see if we can get another case or another example of this. Oh, good, we did. All right, so here on this one, right, we have y equals -3/2, and our general form is y equals mx plus b. Well, there's no x term at all in this. This relates to my plus b, right? So my y-intercept is -3/2, right? Well, that's nice, but I kind of need to know what my slope is, right? Well, the problem is I'm not going to be able to find out what my slope is because there's not an x term there for me to look and see what the number is in front of it is. So what I want you to think about is if you have a slope of 0, if you put 0 in, and that's multiplying by x, what happens to that whole term? Well, that whole term goes to 0. And they're not going to write y equals 0 minus 3/2. That would be silly. They'll just get rid of that and just write y equals -3/2. So your slope for this, when they don't have an x term, your slope is 0. Okay? Hopefully my talking about it helped a little bit with that. All right? And then let's see. Yeah, well, so we'll just kind of go with those examples. I'm going to see if there's one more that might be kind of helpful for us to go through. Nah, I think we're pretty good. So that should get you pretty much where you need to be with this. The only other example you may see is occasionally you'll see something that's like this. That let's say we have y equals 1/2 x. All right? And obviously this isn't an example that they're showing on there. But if I have something that says y equals 1/2 x, what that means is that if I have the y equals mx plus b form, right, and I have nothing there, which I don't, I have absolutely nothing there, it's empty, that means it's 0, right? So in this case, your slope would be 1/2, and then your y-intercept, because there's nothing written down, would be 0. So it's kind of like the last problem I went over with you, but instead of the slope being 0, the y-intercept is 0. So if you have only one term on the right side of your equation, it's either going to be your slope term or it's going to be your y-intercept term, and you can determine which one it is depending upon whether or not you have that x there. So I hope this is helpful. If not, obviously, I or Ms. Moon will be available to give you guys a hand with these.